Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity, you crazy people. My name is Jay and today I'm just going to be talking about visual media for Warhammer 40k. And I think this is important because it's all about setting the tone of the universe. Now, of course, the 40k has been doing very well without, say, a good quality TV show or without a good quality film. You know, people love it anyway. And I suspect people would resist this because we've seen maybe with the books aimed at children that not necessarily everybody's a huge fan of that. But my point being that I think there is a lack of, I mean, there obviously is a lack of good quality visuals for Warhammer 40k, the universe. Now, the elephants in the room will obviously be the books. Now, obviously, that's not a visual thing, hence why I'm making a difference there. The books, the Black Library series of books, for all intents and purposes, seem to be very well liked, very well received. I'm never going to read them myself. I'm just not interested in it enough. Whereas a TV show or a film, I'm happily can put on and I can casually watch. But the books require too much effort, and I'm not into it. I'm not interested. It's basically the vibe there, which is fine. Each to their own. It's good that they have books. Like Star Wars has books, Star Trek has books. A lot of popular series have an expanded universe of books, basically. So that's fine. And then the other elephant in the room is video games. Now, there have been quite a lot of different video games in the Warhammer 40k universe. GW have been pretty decent at licensing out their IP and video games getting made on it. You know, instantly I think of Dawn of War. Obviously, this is the wrong IP, but Total War is obviously a classic example. You know, Space Hulk, there's that shooty one that I can't remember the name off the top of my head, even though I played it. Yeah, there's a lot of okay games. I mean, the games have rated from bad to good, obviously, but the point being that there has been a lot of games, and I think that's actually helped the culture of the universe expand and become more aware in people's minds. I just want to see them take that a step further and go with some a TV show. I will accept that an animated TV show is probably the best way to do that, and I know people will be like, what the actual are you talking about, Jay? Because we've seen what they're gonna do with these kids books, and to those people I'd say do one. Because I'd like to become slightly more mainstream. It makes sense that the IP becomes more easily and readily accessible. And I realise that the tone of Warhammer 40k being the grim dark, or grimdank, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't necessarily lead itself to a family-friendly orientated show. So an adult or animated TV show would be something where I would be suggesting to go with it. I feel like that would be the more a basic animation, which is possibly cheaper than a live action one, depending on how it's done and that kind of thing. It's awkward, but stuff like Star Wars or Star Trek or Fallout, well, not Fallout, Fallout's just got a game, but these other universes sort of feel like a little bit more fleshed out. Star Wars obviously from the films and then it came afterwards. 40k is from the mini war game and then it's fleshed out afterwards, and you can sort of see why it wouldn't necessarily lend itself to visual medium. And there has been a film in the past, and I feel like a film is perhaps difficult. There's one of Katie's very long hairs there in my hand. If we have a quick look perhaps at what we've got on the Wikipedia, this is straight up Wikipedia, so there's nothing amazing here. You can see a long list of video games. They talk about the novels. It's got its own separate section. That all makes perfect sense. Oh, Eternal Crusade is the one I was actually talking about before and couldn't remember the name. Yeah, I think I'll do a whole separate video on video games, I think, because quite frankly I'm interested. I just don't know enough. If you have any really proper recommendations that are actually easily available, do let me know. Probably have to wait till I get better internet before I actually start doing too much about the video games, but there you have it. And then you look at films, and there's one film which I'm fairly sure I watched about 6 years ago or something. I think, when did it come out? 2010. Yeah, so I think probably watched it about 6 years ago, and if I'm honest, it was pretty bad. It wasn't the greatest thing that I've ever seen in the universe. Had some interesting actors. I can't remember, John Hurt was in it, but yeah, no, it wasn't amazing. So I just feel like there's a reason I think it's important, is that it helps with the casual consumer. You know, people like me who aren't necessarily interested too much in the universe. I'm not gonna go like watch. I'm not gonna go read the books. I probably will play the games. The games are away because I'm like that kind of geeky guy. It sort of makes sense. But I think for like broader appeal, they might need to go to like a TV show, or a film would be a big risk. So I think a TV show would make more sense. And I can understand the opposition to that, is that they don't want to tone down the grim dark universe, and I think that sort of would have to happen for TV. It's all a little bit samey. I think like I would personally set the TV show maybe on an alien race, maybe like the Tau or something, because the Space Marines, if it's just about the Space Marines, it seems a bit samey. Like the theme is fine, but I don't know, it's not very personal. I guess they're all like, it seems a bit too formal, if that makes sense. The thing is, not being a 40k lore, I don't know anything about the lore really, apart from the very basics. You know, there's a bloody Grand Imperial guy died and he's not really dead, he's in stasis or whatever, and then there's some dudes who went to Chaos and stuff like that. Horus and his heresy and all that kind of jazz. I'm not trying to explain the story, so don't quote me too much on that obviously, but like I want it to be more easily consumed, I guess is what I'm saying. Which is, yes, I'm being lazy, but yes, I think it would actually really help the traction of the universe, expand its reigns into more casual people. And as I said, I will play the games at some point, so don't worry about that. Going back to like what I said about an animated TV show, one really good example of that people obviously quite enjoy is the Clone Wars, which you know, has been, I mean, I've slightly cut it off on the screen, I do apologise, but this is just the trailer for the Clone Wars. Well, it's sort of meant to be, there you go. It's unfair for me to expect this, because this is obviously now owned by Disney, and you're not really going to get this sort of like quality, and they're not going to have the resources to do something like this. But a slightly shorter version of this, maybe like a mini series, 2-3 episodes of something like this, I just feel would expand the universe in a better way, like in a way that it's probably ultimately going to go to. And I think now's the time to bite the bullet. They've started advertising like Warhammer Conquest on TV in the UK. It's been a while since we've seen a push like that from GW. I'd say, you know, try and strike while the iron's hot. Try and get into popular culture in a different way, and try and get in every single avenue. That's like my theory. I just think it would be for the best. Like, it's actually a good idea if they did it, but I can definitely understand hardcore fans like opposition to it. There's a reason for it as well. Like, when I think of a place in 40k, I don't think of anywhere. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's hard to explain, apart from maybe like an orc town or something. Because we've not got that many good visuals that are, if you've not played the games, especially if you've not played the games, like a casual person who's not read the books or played the games, it's really hard to visualize like a set world. I keep going back to Star Wars because that's the other game that I play, but Star Wars has like unique biomes basically. You know, you've got your Endor, you've got your Hoth, and you can think of them because they're like iconic scenes, and 40k doesn't have any of that iconicness in that, like in a visual sense. Now, story-wise, they obviously do. Character-wise, they obviously do. Everything else, they do. And they almost do it in the games, obviously, but I just think they should bring it more to a more casual audience and do it with like a TV show or film. I understand budget-wise, that's a hard sell, but, you know, I think maybe it's worth the cost and the risk, but I'm not in charge of, you know, GW. I don't get to decide what they do with their money, and they're probably looking at me thinking, this guy would ruin us, and they're probably correct. But that's my thought for the day. It's not really a thought for the day, it's just my little oddball piece. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, like, I'm very curious what you just don't want to see it to go because you think it would like tone down the universe and you wouldn't like it. Or would you be worried about it becoming too popular? I doubt anybody would say that. I guess the main opposition would be that it would be they would have to like tone it down too much, and it wouldn't be what you like about the grimdark universe, which is, as I said, I completely understand. So but then if that is the case, do you disagree with me that it would possibly benefit the hobby overall if we had a 40k universe that was like fleshed out on TV and possibly films? Like, do you disagree with that? If so, let me know. If you like the video, do like. If you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe. If you want to support me on Patreon, there's generally a link about this time at the end of the video. And yeah, have a most beautiful day. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Bye guys.